In this video, I'm going to be telling you why I'm going to get an iPhone 17, why I'm going to be downgrading from a Pro model, and why I think the iPhone 17 base model is actually the best phone for most people. Although these days, new releases of iPhones are not as exciting or as hype as they used to be, I actually feel like the iPhone 17 is a game changer, especially for the base model, because there are multiple changes that Apple has made that makes the iPhone 17 base model much more appealing to get, and probably the best time ever to get a base model. One of the main reasons that the iPhone 17 is such a good upgrade this year is because this is the first year that it's going to be coming with that 120 Hz refresh rate, also known as the ProMotion display. And the ProMotion display is really nice because, of course, you get that really nice refresh rate, but also it has a variable refresh rate. So if you are not requiring such a high refresh rate, it's actually going to throttle it down in order to save you battery. This was probably one of the main reasons that most people would opt to go for the Pro models, because they really wanted to see that smooth, buttery experience when they were using their phone. And now it comes standard on the base iPhone 17. The other big difference to talk about between the Pro models and the base models is, of course, the cameras. So, of course, with the base model, you're just going to get 2 cameras, and with the Pro model, you're going to get 3 cameras. And the main difference is that that third camera is a telephoto camera, which allows you to zoom in really, really far and take some really nice long-range shots. The thing is, for most people, you're going to be using those 2 main cameras 99% of the time, and they're actually exactly the same as the iPhone Pro model cameras. They're 48 megapixel, and they have pretty much the same focal length and aperture. Basically the exact same camera, you're just missing that long-range one. So if you're not really taking a lot of long distance shots. I also heard quite a few people say, sometimes they prefer the telephoto camera for taking portrait shots because it gives a little bit of a more natural look to people's faces. But do you do that currently in your life right now? Do you use the telephoto camera frequently in order to take portrait shots? I think most people are not doing that. So unless you're going to sporting events or you need really long distance wildlife shots, or you're actually using that telephoto camera most of the time, the 2 cameras on the base model are going to be more than sufficient for you. And again, they're essentially the same cameras that are on the Pro model. You also get the upgraded front cameras, which is now going to be an 18 megapixel front camera. And what's really great about this one is now you can take your selfies while the camera is vertical, and you can automatically have it stretch out to be a horizontal picture. So no more having to twist your phone over and then have the camera kind of off to the side, which can kind of give an unflattering look when you're taking selfies. Both the base model and the front model have this new upgraded front camera. All right, so here's a video from MKBHD that's kind of previewing this, but you can see if you just tap a button, it's gonna make it into a landscape mode. And so you don't have to turn the camera anymore, and it's gonna give you that really, really high resolution picture. No more having to turn your camera off to the side like this. You can just do it vertically. That way you don't get all this weird distortion when you're switching it to the side. Another difference that you're going to have when comparing the base model to the Pro model is you're not going to have the ProRes or Pro Raw footage, which a lot of professional filmmakers use because it gets more data about the color, and then they can color grade it better, and it's like a high quality file or anything. But honestly, if you're not a filmmaker or professional person who's using your iPhone, you're never going to need this. And in all my time with iPhone Pros, I've never used this function at all. So again, this is basically a scratch. Some other differences between the base model and the Pro model is that on the base, you're not going to have that LiDAR scanner, which really is not necessary for most people. Some people use it to scan the rooms they're in and kind of get size, the dimensions of the room, or they can scan some objects. Helps a little bit if you like augmented reality, helps a little bit with autofocus, making it a little bit faster. But this is not a feature that is needed by most people. One feature that I am a little bit sad about is that you're not going to have the 4 studio mic array that is going to be on the Pro model. But again, even on my iPhone 13 Pro, we did not have this. This is only a recent feature that they added. And if you're not recording high fidelity, high quality studio level music or vocals, again, we've gotten by with these great microphones that are already very good here. And so I did listen to a few different videos comparing the 4 studio mic array and the regular microphone. I do think there's definitely a difference. But again, I think it really only matters if you're trying to record some kind of high quality sound file. Otherwise, the regular microphone setup, which has 3 microphones, is more than enough for everybody. Another thing that's different is that with your USB port on the base model, you're going to have USB 2, versus on the Pro, you're going to have USB 3, which can go like 20 times faster is the number they quote. But how many times are you transferring files from your phone onto your computer? Unless you're doing that all the time and you're doing really high 4K photos and videos, ProRes footage, you're really not going to have gigantic, huge files that you're transferring all the time. Most people use AirDrop and other things like that all the time too. So really, I don't think the speeds of the USB are that big of a deal for most people. Like, how often are you actually plugging into your computer to transfer a whole ton of files? I would say looks-wise, the base model probably looks better to most people. The new iPhone Pro does look a little bit different. It's kind of got this really, really large plateau is what they're calling it here. So it looks a little bit bigger. It's like bulkier. The iPhone 17 is like much more minimalistic and it looks like a normal iPhone. The iPhone 17 is actually a little bit smaller too in terms of it's just not as thick, 7.95 millimeters versus 8.75 millimeters. It's lighter, 177 grams versus 206 grams. And then also just a little bit shorter and a little bit less wide as well. And then also the screen quality is actually the same between the iPhone 17 and the iPhone 17 Pro. So I already mentioned that you've got ProMotion display on both of these, but on top of that, both of them have always on display. They've got the same contrast ratio. They have the same peak brightness, which is like brighter than it's ever been before. And also they both have this anti-reflective coating, which is really effective. I don't even see them listing it on here, but I have this video from Mr. Who's the Boss here, so you can see the iPhone 17 here versus the iPhone 16 here. And just playing it, you can see that the left side is significantly more legible. You're still going to have that, that reflection, but it really does help reduce that glare that you're getting when you're out under some lights or in the sun. Here's another example right here. He's just kind of turning them around, and you can see that the iPhone 17 has way less of that harsh light that's reflecting on it. So this anti-reflective coating is available on the base model. Just really impressive to have this. In terms of storage, the base model now comes with 256 gigabytes of storage, which is going to be more than sufficient for most people. And I've also been considering, should I get more storage? I want to record more videos, but I really figured if I'm going to be using that much, I can just kind of upload all those files onto an external hard drive instead and not have to pay so much extra. And so looking at the cost difference between these two, you can see that the iPhone 17 is starting at $799 and you're paying $300 more for the iPhone 17 Pro. And for every 256 gigabytes of storage, you're adding like an additional $200 on top of that. All right, let's talk about any other differences. So again, you've got the same 6.3 inch display. Pretty much everything is the same. They're both going to be made out of aluminum, and both of them are scratch resistant with the ceramic shield. One thing is if you're going to be a gamer, okay, then maybe the iPhone 17 Pro is going to be good for you. Or if you actually edit a lot of videos on your phone, then maybe you can use take advantage of the A19 Pro chip. But compared to my iPhone 13 Pro, the iPhone 17 is already way faster with this A19 chip over the A15 chip. Battery life. So battery life, way better. Both of these are way better already than the iPhone 13 Pro, which has been more than sufficient for me. And so 30 hours of video playback versus 33 hours of video playback. I think once you're already past one day, you're not really getting that much benefit at that point anyways. So I think the difference in the battery life is pretty much negligible between these two. So yeah, again, all the camera system is pretty much the same except for the lack of the telephoto. So the question is, do you really need to be paying $300 more to get features that you're probably not going to be using that much? So of the features that we listed, okay, are you going to use your ProRes, ProRAW? Are you going to use the LiDAR scanner, the mic array, USB 3? Are you going to be using the A19 chip versus taking advantage of the A19 Pro chip, which again, the A19 is so fast already. So yeah, these are pretty much the only differences between the iPhone 17 base model and the Pro model. This honestly feels like the best base model iPhone that Apple has ever released. They just added so many upgrades to it this year that it really feels like for most people, there's no reason to get a Pro. Only if you're in those very fringe or niche, use cases, like you're a hardcore gamer or hardcore filmmaker, or you're really using long range zoom shots all the time and taking wildlife photography or something like that. So really, this is such a great time to upgrade to an iPhone, and I am going to be getting the iPhone 17. I am a little bit sad, maybe I'm going to miss this telephoto camera and miss out on some opportunities that I could have taken those long range shots. But to be honest, I feel like I pretty much never use the telephoto here anyways. You can still always use your digital zoom. And also, I think the times that I can't get an amazing picture top level quality that I feel like I'm missing out on compared to the Pro model, that's just an opportunity to live a little bit more in the moment and, just experience it instead of being so focused on trying to get my telephoto zoom camera to zoom in 8 times or 16 times or whatever. Anyways, I just want to share this information because I'm excited to get this new iPhone 17. It's been time for me to upgrade. And if you are in need of a new iPhone 2, I think this is maybe one of the best times to get an upgrade because of all of the upgrades to the base model. So let me know your thoughts down below. I hope to see you in the next video. And until then, good luck and have fun.